Greetings, Space Marines. On behalf of everyone at Saber Interactive and Focus Entertainment, we want to extend a massive thank you to each and every one of you.
Destroy them!
It's only been a few weeks since we released Space Marine 2, and it's been a thrill to see millions of you diving into the game. Your dedication has been incredible.
Go forth in the name of the Emperor!
But the fight is far from over. The enemies of humanity are regrouping, and they're coming back stronger. The war is about to escalate. Get ready, because we're bringing you a whole year of new content, entirely free. We're starting with a brand new PvE operation. Gather your 3-player squad and deploy back on Kadaku to face the biggest and most terrifying Tyranid yet, the Hierophant Bio-Titan.
No matter how many vermin they send, I will cut them down.
Looking for an even tougher challenge? Gear up for the upcoming edition of Lethal Difficulty.
Brace yourselves!
A brand new difficulty setting for the Operations mode, designed to test your skills against the most brutal Xenos and Heretics. And to help you in battle, the Armory will provide a new weapon, the Neo-Volkite Pistol.
But we are prepared. We end this now.
In addition to all this free content, 2024 will bring Season Pass owners a full suite of cosmetic fineries from a fan-favorite Space Marine chapter, the Dark Angels. You'll be granted exclusive new weapon skins for your auto bolt rifle, plasma pistol, and power sword.
The Emperor provides.
A champion pack for the Bulwark class with a full-body armor skin, a unique shield, and loads of cosmetic options to stand out on the battlefield and celebrate the Dark Angels' successor chapters.
The moment of reckoning is upon us.
And this is just the beginning. Future seasons will feature new operations, a host of additions for PvP with a new game mode and new arenas, new Tyranid and Thousand Suns enemies, weapons, a blood-pumping horde mode, and other new Space Marine chapter cosmetics for Gold and Ultra Edition owners. Stay tuned for more updates coming soon. This war has just begun.
Crush them now! No fear!
Hurry! Cover me! Hold the line!
Emperor, forgive us!
Okay, we're cooking, boys. I'm Mini Pride from Milk and Cookies Total War, and today we got some juicy Space Marine 2 content to cover relating to the immediate future of the game, with a more in-depth look at the roadmap, operations, cosmetics, and new weapons. Combined with the leaks and a few blink and you miss it hints included in the trailer that just played, we have a very solid picture for the next several months anyway, and things are looking pretty sensual, so let's get cracking. Fear not if you're a Total War fan first and foremost. We'll be getting back into the swing of things with battles and news soon, and we'll of course be going hard in the paint with the Ogres, Greenskins, and Khorne DLC, so as soon as we can show you stuff from that, I will do so. But hot on the heels of a very successful launch, Season 2 for Space Marine 2 is about to kick off, and it will include a new weapon, a new enemy, a new operations mission as we return to Kadaku in the late stages of a Tyranid invasion, and of course the much anticipated Lethal Difficulty. We still don't have a specific date on these additions, but there have been hints dropped by the community team that it is coming, and I quote, very, very soon. So there's a good shot for this week, possibly dropping as early as tomorrow. There have been some rumblings. I don't know how accurate they are quite yet. Now, Lethal Difficulty is without question the biggest piece of news for me, because while there were a lot of good changes that came with the last major update, the reduction in damage and numbers of enemies on screen really kind of made it a cakewalk on Ruthless. I played probably 30 plus operations since that update, and I've only died once since then in a solo mission because I was running a white tier heavy bolter and just could not kill a Carnifex before running out of ammo. I totally appreciate that's not true for everybody. For some it's still hard, and I get that. It's totally fine if you feel that way. Not trying to make you feel bad about it. For I think a lot of the more experienced players who have gotten really good at the game, Ruthless just isn't providing the challenge that they would like to see that really makes them feel like they want to keep coming back. Because I know when I play Auric Maelstrom missions on Darktide, for example, I'm not going to die very often in those, but I do die. I do get pressured. I do feel overwhelmed. Haven't been experiencing that as much in Space Marine 2. I'd like to see that for Lethal, which would mean significantly more frequent massive waves and horde modifiers, more extremist spawns, more terminus spawns, and more of those things doubling and tripling up together and comboing all over the map. If the devs can successfully make it very challenging, overwhelming, and fun, then operations will get a ton more leg to stand on, even before the other mission types and horde mode make their way into the game. I want to get spit roasted by a Lictor and a Ravener at the same time, while a Neurothrope is screaming in my eardrum and a massive horde is charging in from behind. I want those kinds of combat engagements to be frequent and dope, and if they can manage to put that together, it's going to feel really good. I want Lethal to be this game's Auric Maelstrom from Darktide. As for the new mission and enemy type, we see some absolutely gorgeous snippets here and there of the Hierophant Bio-Titan, an absolutely immense creature that dwarfs basically anything we've ever seen in any 40k or Warhammer fantasy game, period. To set the stage for you on the new op and what exactly is happening here, the Tyranid invasion of Kadaku is nearing its end. The planet's organic material being transformed into biomass, and Tyranid capillary towers are stretching high into the skies above, where the hive ships wait to devour and relish their victory. The Cadian forces have made a valiant attempt to push back against the Tyranids, and of course a team of Space Marines will infiltrate onto Kadaku with a simple mission: to help the Cadians destroy those towers. The Tyranids may win the planet, but the Imperium will make it as painful as possible for them. So the result of this war in Kadaku is essentially a foregone conclusion. The planet's already being terraformed as we speak, and so the big guns are really coming out to play, and in this case, we are talking a freakish monstrosity the size of a skyscraper, armed with bio-cannons akimbo, triggered by massive electrochemical shocks that spew forth a hail of highly venomous and corrosive maggot organisms, splattering a rain of bioacid and poison that can melt through nearly any material in a matter of seconds, and reduce the unfortunate victim into a steaming pile of gibbering, bubbling goo. With all manner of rending talons and armored legs that can skewer a Land Raider with ease, it can eviscerate anything that makes it close to the underbelly with impaling tendrils or drown them in noxious gases. But as with all Tyranid bioforms, evolution and rapid mutation are its biggest advantages here, and as new threats emerge in a battlefield, it can roll with those punches and come up with all kinds of new ways to both kill and survive a very hostile environment, which Kadaku certainly will be once our kill team of Space Marines make it to the party. Perhaps more importantly, we'll be working alongside the Guard for this one. One of the big changes you'll notice between Ops and Campaign is that, barring maybe a few examples on Decapitation, you kind of feel divorced from the larger war in Operations mode, kind of feel isolated, and you miss out on some of those cinematic moments you get in Campaign when you're like rolling alongside Leman Russ tanks and Basilisks and a swarm of Cadians, right? We're going to be getting that experience here as the planet starts to fall, which should be epic, and that'll be in the form of what, like multi-laser turrets firing in, just blasting this Bio-Titan apart, and we'll be working alongside that to bring the big boy down. Now, unfortunately, I do think the new enemy type on the roadmap is the Bio-Titan. Now, we see that new enemy type moniker multiple times. It's on multiple pages of it. We're going to be getting a bunch of them, but I think this first one is the Bio-Titan, which is perhaps a bit of a shame, because it means it's almost certainly only going to be available on that one map. It's just such a big unit, right? Amazing addition. Don't get me wrong, model's incredible. Fight should be a hell of a lot of fun, but we don't know if this will be a legit boss fight like the Hive Tyrant, or more like a dangerous terrain feature like it was with the Helldrake on Reliquary. I'd argue the Helldrake isn't truly a boss fight as much as it's like a cinematic deadly terrain obstacle. Its only real interaction with the playing space itself is with that Bale Flame Breath attack. It doesn't actually come down onto the map and fight you close up. And I kind of have a feeling it will be a similar thing here, just because that Bio-Titan is so freaking big and so powerful that having it interact with the real playing space might be janky and, frankly, more trouble than it's worth. So it'll probably be chilling off at an inaccessible point, firing into an arena where our squad is. Which is fine, But when I see new enemy type on the roadmap, I'm usually hoping for a Majoris, Extremis, or Terminus enemy that we can see regularly on any of the maps, not a railroaded boss encounter we can only experience at the end of one single mission. You know what I mean? And I think it's a fair assumption the Bio-Titan will only be on this one new map, and that we won't ever see it on Inferno, Decapitation, Ballistic Engine, or Vox Liberatus, because those maps aren't designed to hold something that large. So, boss fights like this can be very awesome. I love to see that kind of content get added. I just hope that the new enemy types in the future help to flesh out the more regular roster as well, so we see more Majoris, Extremis, and Terminus spawns that aren't quite so restrictive as a Titan. Super cool though, was not expecting to see a unit that huge or deadly in the game at all, and it makes me very excited to see what else they might be cooking up for future operations, which we do get a glimpse of a bit later in the video. Spoilers here, I'll give you a couple seconds to pause the video if you haven't finished the campaign yet. I'll be talking about spoiler stuff for maybe like 30 or 45 seconds, so maybe skip ahead a little bit if you haven't finished the campaign. But let's go. Alright, the Necron pylons and the pyramid we see at the end of the campaign will probably be doing the work of Squad Stalasa and Viridian when they were spinning those contraptions at the same Gadriel was. So basically the last stand of 2nd Company and the Ultramarines against the Thousand Suns before Marneus Calgar and the Victor's Guard come down to the Thunderhawk and save their asses. There's been community talk about if or when Necrons are coming, and while they are clearly set up by the story, by the hieroglyphs, by, you know, the gigantic freaking pyramids in the background, and we spent the entirety of the last mission seeing their gorgeous works and even some of their destroyed units in that background, I do not think they will be in this game, period, at all. I do not think they are in the immediate plans for Space Marine 2, and instead may end up being the Tyranid or Orc equivalent in Game 3. When people see new enemy on that roadmap, they're not talking about a new enemy race, they're talking about specific Majoris, Extremis, or Terminus enemies. So it's going to be for the Thousand Suns or for the Tyranids. But when it comes to Necrons, honestly, I kind of have my doubts about them being super fun to fight. Any race that doesn't bleed tends to not be quite as enjoyable to kill, in my experience. And that's not even getting into their battlefield tactics and weaponry, which would be super cool to see in video game form. Don't get me wrong, I love Necrons. They are incredibly awesome, but they may not be so much fun to be on the business end of their weapons, right? Gauss cannons and all their organic melting death rays of doom, one-shotting you from across the map. It's basically everything people hate about Tzeentch dialed up to 11. Scarabs would certainly not be as fun to kill as Tyranid Gaunts as the main horde enemy, and frankly they wouldn't be as fun to kill as Zongors either. Those have blood, those you can dismember. Harder to do that with Scarabs, in a satisfying way anyway, and that satisfaction of killing robots in general that phase out when destroyed, probably not going to be as dope as ripping an Orc or Tyranid Warrior limb from limb, you know? That's not to say they couldn't make it fun as hell, I'm sure they could, just that I have some reservations on that front, and I'm not sure they'd be quite as much fun as Orcs or Tyranids are to rip in half, you know? Alright, spoilers over. Let's talk about that Neo-Volkite Pistol. This is basically a superheated death ray that can punch through high-value targets, quickly taking out Majoris or Extremis enemies while dealing big damage to even Terminus bosses. What I think this will work like is low ammo, high lethality, and punching power for penetrating armor. Probably less than 12 or 10 shots, but huge damage and the ability to maybe one-shot Majoris. Its function would be a lot like a lore-based Melta, really, but of course Space Marines 2 Melta more focused on horde clear, heat shotgun type of thing, as it was in the first game, while most depictions of the Melta in other games and in lore make it a vehicle killer, a monster killer, with a focused single-shot burst of insane metal-melting heat. The Neo-Volkite Pistol will ideally just straight up take the head off a warrior in a single shot, maybe even skip that execution stage entirely, but just be severely limited in ammo to keep it balanced. Should be a very fun addition if they give it that kind of unique identity. And then there's the Dark Angels pack, who will soon be joined by the Raven Guard after, it seems. And in this trailer, we can see a bunch of the Dark Angels and Deathwing iconography, some very cool cosmetics that anyone can put on for multiple classes, including a cowl hood for more classes than just the Bulwark, and green weapon skins for the Power Sword, Auto Bolt Rifle, and Plasma Pistol, which of course the Dark Angels are very well known for using their unique plasma weaponry like the Spear of Caliban, and I think they hoard plasma weapons in general more than pretty much any other chapter. I was actually expecting the unique champion skin to be Inner Circle Companion type of vibe, red robes, green armor, lanterns, iron halo, incense, very Crusader-like and religious, mysterious even. Instead, they went for the winged helmet look, which honestly I think looks just as awesome. There's some really cool artwork I've seen of the Dark Angels as a chapter coming in with the winged helmets, and I think it's just such an awesome looking vibe. I'm a little bit sad we won't be able to put those wings on other classes, and that's really my biggest critique of the champion system in general, and that you can't take those bits and bobs and do anything you want with them. You can't even color the champion the way you want. It's always going to look exactly like you see in the trailer. It's a hard and fast look the whole way through, so hopefully at some point they get a little bit less stringent on that front and let us get more creative with the cosmetics and mixing and matching how we want on the classes we want. There are mods that allow you to do that right now. I'll probably end up doing some videos on those, or at least utilizing it. But yeah, this skin in particular does look amazing. Power Sword looks awesome. The gold accents, the color scheme, the unique shield and helmet, all of it looks great. And we also get a good look at the successor chapters coming alongside it. So from a purely visual perspective, I don't really have any complaints other than the fact that we won't be able to customize the bulwark in any way besides what they've given us here. What's there does look amazing. But when it comes to those successor chapters, for the second founding, we have the Angels of Absolution, the Angels of Redemption, and the Angels of Vengeance, followed up by the Unnamed, the Blades of Vengeance, the Cowled Wardens, and the Bringers of Judgment. So quite the lineup there. Some really nice color schemes and cosmetic pieces on the way for gold and platinum owners. And it looks like Raven Guard are next after the Dark Angels. You can see their chapter symbol directly after Dark Angels on that page at the top. And I believe some Raven Guard cosmetics are at the end of the video as well, kind of as a hint for future stuff. So that is probably when we will get to see the Corvus style beaky helmet for Assault. They're the ones that really popularized that beak helmet as a chapter, if I'm not mistaken. And as for the leaks, there have been some files shown for future Salamander's weaponry, including a Salamander sniper that is all colored in all kinds of like Salamander iconography. So people are thinking that the hero pack or champion pack will be for a Salamander sniper. Kind of an interesting combo there, but we'll see how that goes. Full-on Phobos helmets are in the files right now. Mark 7 and Mark 8 helmets that grant that classic Space Marine Firstborn look are also in the leaks, and there are a few other fun tidbits here and there, so the devs are certainly cooking. No guarantee, of course, that all of that will make it into the game anytime soon, but they are in the files, which tends to be a pretty good sign. Horde mode is confirmed. More Tzeentch operations missions tied into the end of campaign are confirmed. More weapons, more enemies, more chapters, and cosmetics are all confirmed as well. And of course, new Eternal War maps and some sexy new plane spaces for the boys. So, if we get Lightning Claws, if we get some classes at some point, like a Chaplain for the Loyalists or a Dark Apostle for the Word Bearers on the other side of that, and then Apothecary for Emperor's Children, and of course whatever chapter they decide for it on the Loyalist side in Eternal War, and a Librarian for the Thousand Suns, Chaos Sorcerer on the Thousand Suns side, and then Librarian on the Loyalist side. And then we've got a lot to work with here, right? Like there's a lot to be excited for in Space Marine 2's future. No confirmation of any classes yet, but I do think those will be on the agenda sooner rather than later. Things are shaping up real nicely. I got some cool ideas and gameplay videos for this and a bunch of other series coming soon. So Total War, Dark Tide, Space Marine 2, and some other games as well that you'll see very soon. But I hope you all enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all in the next one. Indie Pride signing out for now. Have a good one.